hello there, YouTube, and welcome to Saturday, June the 4th. As you can see, it's just now starting to sprinkle. Little Miss Princess here will be freaking out in no time. But all morning, it's 12:30 now, so I got a good night's sleep. Didn't even mess with the video. I just got the files uploaded to the storage thing, and I thought I'm gonna get good night's sleep. I'll work. It's supposed to rain all day tomorrow. I'll work on it then. So thinking in my head, that's what it's supposed to do all day. Well, it's 12:30. I could have gone for a ride. I could have mowed the lawn and all this other stuff. And Kelly goes, I don't know why it's so dry out there. I love it when the weather's wrong. I said, well, let's see what it's going to do here for a bit. And we'll maybe go for a little rip and do some things, you know. Oh, no. A front from heck is heading. It's even got the old yellow and stuff in the radar. So I just come out here to say hey to you guys. And the yesterday's video, I'm just waiting for it to finish doing all its processing things so I can turn it live on YouTube. And yeah, rain's starting. Son of a gun. Sorry. What a way to start the day. Not paying attention. I'd have still just left the vlog behind and go for a ride, even mow the lawn. Ain't gonna get that lawn done today, I don't think, because what's coming doesn't look very happy. And it's getting heavier. I need to get the girls in before Sasha starts her woo-wooing. Well, let's fast forward all the way up to 5:45 in the afternoon. And as you can hear, it's still raining out here. It actually stopped for a little bit. That's what brought me out here. See if things are starting to dry up. They were starting to tack up, but it didn't dry up. And now the rain is back. It's essentially like 100% chance of rain all day today. So I went down this rabbit hole. I was looking at one little thing, and see the hawk fly out of that tree over there? And went down this YouTube rabbit hole of looking at things. Here, let me get out of the rain here. So I started looking at, for drifting dovetail sights on firearms. I've always used these little brass deals, some of them triangles and whatnot for drifting these things. That was a set of sights I was kind of looking at for that XDS 45 ACP that I have. I just pulled this thing. I haven't messed with this old FireStar in so long. I thought I'd pull it down, make sure she's all nice and greased, and she was. Nothing funky going on there. But this reminds me of that too. I ended up watching this thing about and the guy did it the way I was taught, was to drift them out, jig them real good, and drift them out and drift them back in, with a small hammer and little brass drift. The little triangle ones are the best ones. They got plastic ones now that actually kind of look like that material that you can do it with as well. But this guy, it was just this one. Well, I found several things, but I got stuck on this one guy. He does 45 ACPs or 1911s. I guess I should say. I didn't mean the 45 because the 9mm are popular in that too. So are 10mm. But when I was goofing around in the 80s with them, everything was 45 ACP. I mean, we just didn't even mess with any of that stuff. Back in those days, when you thought of a 9mm, it was the new Glocks that just came out, the plastic pistol. You guys remember when they said you could go through an airport with them? Everybody thought they were all plastic. No. But anyway, this guy was doing a bunch of machining and fitting for a 1911, and just this flashback of the 80s. I mean, this old friend of mine would always go to the gun shows and looking at different things. We'd end up with all this crazy stuff, and most of it was 45 ACP chambered 1911s, and then all that polishing and barrel fitting and bushing fittings. This is just this actually kind of comes apart like a striker fire gun for the most part. But, fitting we get the special barrels and hand fit them so the link and all that stuff would work good. All these little special tools for grinding them down, fitting the slides and the barrels and porting or polishing them, the feed ramps and, the ramps of the barrel and all that stuff. Heck, I might even have polished this one at some point. But I didn't go, this one just never had any problems, so I never messed with it. But it made those old 1911s just stone reliable. We used to laugh at the people, go, I don't think it's so unreliable. Yeah, when you take them right out of the box, especially just a base model. You can buy high-end 911s back in those days, but not to the extent you can now. And they certainly weren't the price they are now either. But anyway, God almighty, going down memory lane, thinking of doing all that stuff. And what's sad is what got me into it was this little gun shop down from where I lived in Portland. And this old boy, we'd sit there after hours, and he'd show me all kinds of stuff. He was really big into a competition. We used to do little club things at these little shooting ranges. One of them was not too terribly far from where I work in Vancouver. God, what was that thing called? Pit Bull or the Bull Pit? Something. It was a little shooting. There's probably an apartment sitting on top of it now. You know how that goes. Yeah, the hours I would spend with these old boys. And there was a guy at work that I worked with that was into, as it turned out, it just happened to how you have conversations. Turns out he was in them, and he was really big into the old 9mm Browning high power. That was the 9mm I'm thinking of. But man, I was really into those 1911s and making those things accurate and reliable. And so it's amazing I don't have wrist problems. Couldn't wait after you did some stuff to go out to the range and go clink banging. Because I lived in southeast Portland. So, I mean, you couldn't shoot inside city limits, so you had to go out somewhere. But out here, you walk out in the backyard. Well, you guys hear it when we're doing vlogs. There are people all the time out here. There's some guy, he doesn't advertise anything, but he obviously has his own shooting range out there. Anyway, I was just going down a major memory lane thing it's funny how you get into that stuff. And I was so into it. And then the same with the motorcycles, You guys think I've always had a garage full of motorcycles? Well, I kind of did when I was in Portland, when I had my own little shop. But it was old fixer-up beaters that I rode around. I did. I had old dual sports, and I was really into XS650 Yamahas. Especially old ones, still had the points, I was like still in the 70s, But I was really into the newer ones, electronic, although that got you because the stators would die in them. But yeah, Kelly and I used to travel all over Hex Half Acres, 2 up. Of course, I was skinny as a stick pole back then. That bike didn't even know I was attached to it. And we used to travel all over Hex Half Acres, drive down to San Francisco and all that kind of stuff on an old XS650. I had this one. It was an 81 XS650 Special 2, I think it was called. And anyway, there's something special about that one. We tweaked on her a little bit, and she's still mostly stock. It's stock exhaust and everything. It's kind of like I do now. I just make a stock bike run really good, and I'm super happy with them. And so we did that old 650. Speed limit was still 55 back then. But that thing, there was a sweet spot at 63 that thing literally floated down the highway, even 2 up, like a gold wing. God, just right in the power, and that was sweet, man. We did a lot of traveling. Had a little, I don't have anything like that has that, but I think National Cycle made it. It was a little, I don't think they called it a fly screen, but it was a little windshield. That's all we needed just to knock that pressure off your your carcass, so to speak, when you're going down the freeway for hours on end. But we got some crazy stories about trips on that. We were going all over the place. They were good old days. And now everything's all weird with guns and stuff. I mean, guns just, everybody had them. And now everybody blames the gun for everything. You know, it takes a person pushing that little thing right there to make that thing be dangerous, you know. That's a whole nother world, and I don't get into that kind of talk. But things were just way different. People were cool. You didn't have the crazy stuff that goes on now, and it was just a different world. You guys that, you know, are older, you know what I'm talking about. Different world. You're free to do a lot of things. And it was free because there was no crazy people. There was definitely crazy. There's always been crazy people. But, you know, now you got social media that teaches people to be crazy, I think, in some aspects. Just a lot of that stuff just didn't exist. If it did, it was so rare that it wasn't even talked about. But anyway, Danny and I, as it turns out here jaw-jacking. I was just thinking about the videos I was watching. Rain had stopped for a bit. I come out to see if it was dry. I thought, well, I'll knock this thing apart, make sure I lubed her up real well last time I had her apart, and make sure everything's all happy and there's no chunks of rust looking down the barrel or anything like that. She's all good. Got the camera with me. Might as well say a quick hello to the peeps. Man, I used to have this felt, some kind of a felt thing that was on the bottom. It finally fell apart laying in the bottom of my toolbox. But I had this whole thing all rigged up that would hold the slides and do all kinds of stuff. But to answer the initial thing I was telling you about, there are these little hand tools that you can drift those sights out. When I adjusted that little 380 ACP, the LCP Max, that the sight was slightly off, the front sight. And that sight was in there a whole lot tighter than I'm used to. So I thought, there's got to be a tool for that. I know there's a tool without having some fancy overpriced machine. Anyway, I found a thing on Amazon, ordered it. It'll be here Monday in case I need to adjust something. You never know. But most of my stuff, if there's any adjustment, it's very minor. Go out there and scare Kylie a little bit and make sure she's right, and that's it. She's used to it, though. When you haven't done it in a while, it gets her really excited, and you got to be careful because she's old. She's really old. Alrighty, go in there and see what the mama's doing. Put this thing back together, and yeah. Boy, that barrel can be tricky to get back in that thing sometimes. I forgot about that. But there's somebody left a comment yesterday or day before, I think it was yesterday, was asking, do any of the manufacturers use DOT 5.1? Not that I know of. So I was going to do a little video at work yesterday about that, about 5.1 and 5.0. We don't even stock it. If you want it, we'll order it. Otherwise, we don't stock it. There's a big problem with DOT 5.1 is people will mix up 5.0 with silicone. This is a glycol-based brake fluid, DOT 3 and 4 and 5.1. The only difference between DOT 4 and DOT 5.1 is roughly around 70 degrees Fahrenheit of higher boiling point. DOT 5.0 is not compatible with 3, 4, or 5.1. It's way too easy for customers to get those things mixed up. And I think maybe that's why the manufacturers don't use 5.1. It's like a dead thing. We don't, like I said, we got like a whole shelf of brake fluid, different brands, everything. And both of them thought we had some Motul and we had some Socoline, or not Socoline, but Motor X, and because I think KTM used 5.1 or something at one point. Don't know. But anyway, we don't even stock it. Too easy, way too many, and I myself have had to fit, not from my own doing, customers bringing them in, and they come in on a tow truck or in the back of a pickup truck because somebody mixed up and put 5.0 instead of 5.1 in a bike. Harley used 5.0 up until sometime in the 2000s. I don't remember when it was. I know they used the silicone for a while, which that's fine. And the whole world was very good with that. You knew dot 3 and 4 was glycol base and dot 5 was silicone. And to convert, you have to take everything completely apart, and it has to be completely dry. Nothing can have even the slightest amount of residue of dot 3 or 4 or 5.1. So because of the ease of customers getting mixed up and putting either 5.1 in their bike that calls for silicone or vice versa, they switch to 5.1 and then go, oh, I need some more brake fluid, and accidentally grab 5.0, which is silicone. Not compatible in any way, shape, or form. Can't be anything of the glycol base or the silicone base and mix the two together. So, no, that I know of, none of the manufacturers use it. Nothing that we sell. Well, hello there, YouTube. Rain never stopped.
Nope.
We still got over an hour of daylight before it's even sunset, and then you got all that twilight after that. Kind of one of those wet ones today.
Yep, wet, yucky one. I'm going to sneeze.
The bummer was this morning, I could have got some stuff done. I could have went for a ride. The rain that was supposed to be here never got, but when it keeps saying it's supposed to, it must have been just a nice
stall out somewhere.
Yeah, so I could have done some stuff, but didn't. But anyway, I think I've rattled on enough about old times, gunsmithing, old friends. Sadly, some of them that aren't even around no more.
That's sad.
Kind of did a little memory lane thing down on YouTube. Came right back in and did some more. So anyway, enough rattling on. We're going to roll out.
Alrighty, well, thank you guys so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. We will talk to you tomorrow. Same smoke time, same smoke channel. Don't forget to give a thumbs up. And you guys have an amazing Sunday or Monday.
Heck yeah. Hopefully we get a little break tomorrow.
Yeah, that would be nice.
At least mow the lawn and ride a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Even if it's quick. Say we rode one.
Exactly.
All right. See you guys tomorrow.
See you in the morning.
Thanks. Bye-bye.